Okay, we have some catching up to do. So, I'm back at the beginning of chapter 6 because I missed a couple of things. Nothing, I guess, super important in terms of what you need to do to finish the game, but there are some interesting plot points that I did not cover here. So let me go ahead and try to cover everything. I made some notes, so let's see. Let me make sure I don't miss anything. So first of all, thank you to Kevin Lee, who suggested a couple of things. First of all, he suggested, let's ask Jack about the Salvarsan. Salvarsan is the name of that medication that we found in that kit. Remember that kit we found in Margot's room? That's the with the syringe and everything, like the injection kit. So that was for Salvarsan. I think Salvarsan is actually a real. Let me just quickly look it up. Salvarsan, I believe it's a brand name. Actually, I don't know if it's a brand name. Is it a brand? Is it a brand or is it a generic word? I have no idea. But yeah, it's a real thing. It's an antibiotic which was, I guess, the world's first real treatment, like the first effective treatment for syphilis, as I mentioned. But we never asked Jack about it because I wanted to remain discreet. I didn't want to ask him about that, but actually, Jack does respond to it if you ask about him. So let's go ahead and ask him about it since we're here and since we're getting close to the end of the game. Let's go ahead and say, ask Jack about Salvarsan.
I found a strange kid in Margot's vanity. Do you know anything about that? It was full of interesting things.
A kit? I don't know anything about that.
I found your fingerprints on this kit, Jack. Did you have something to do with Margot's death?
No, Margot had a medical condition, and I helped her take her medicine. But I never asked her what it was in it. The writing on the labels are tiny, my eyes are bad, I couldn't read them and didn't try.
I know.
You know? You heard us? Jack goes red.
Yes, once. I didn't mean to.
That probably sounded really suspicious, but Nancy, we were friends, and friends only. Do you think her treatments killed her? We were always so careful. Was it dangerous or poisonous?
Jack, there's a pamphlet in Margot's kit that says the contents contain arsenic. She could have had a seizure due to an overdose. I didn't find your fingerprints on anything in the kit that warned about arsenic, though. So I think it's possible you didn't know that Margot's medicine could be poisonous if an incorrect dose was given.
I didn't, I swear. The little glass ampoules are single use. We couldn't have used too much.
I didn't find any fingerprints at all on the ampoules, which supports your claim that they were used once and then discarded. I think I may believe you, Jack. While it looks like Margot was getting regular doses of arsenical compounds, it doesn't appear her death was caused by an accidental overdose or intentional poisoning with her kit. I wonder what could have happened.
Look, Nancy, Margot and me were friends. I never meant her any harm. The doses had to be injected, which she couldn't do by herself. They were extremely painful, too. Why don't you investigate the people who didn't like Margot? Nessa, for instance. It's no secret those two didn't get along.
Jack may be onto something there. That's not a bad idea, Jack. Thanks.
Go on, then.
Nessa has been up to some suspicious activity, actually. I saw her pouring liquid out of a silver flask in the orchard. And she was having a furtive conversation with Corvus. They didn't want me to hear it. But I managed. Nessa dumped a bunch of jars where the waterfall to the east.
Yeah, this is all stuff we know. This is all kind of a review of, and Nessa's fingerprint was something. Yeah, we know all this already. This is... Oh, she's telling it to Jack. Okay, I thought she was kind of talking to herself or to us, the players, but okay, she's telling it to Jack. You don't say. Is that it? Okay, I guess. All right, I guess that's that. So, yeah, I mean... Is Jack telling the truth? I certainly don't think that Jack meant to kill Margot. I certainly believe that he did not intend for her to die. Is he being truthful about them not having an affair, being just friends? I don't know. Actually, that's not really it's not really our business. It doesn't really matter now. Margot's dead. That's not really very material. So whether they were having an affair or not is not really. I mean, it's maybe of academic interest, but it's not really anything important now, so I'll just go ahead and leave that. So we asked Jack about the salver stand, and one other thing that I missed, one thing that's kind of interesting is what we didn't do is try to use the brooch. This is Nessa's brooch. And she mentions something in my pocket must have scratched it.
What in my pocket is harder than a ruby?
That's a hint. Because if we take a look at this, there are clearly some new scratches in the ruby cabochon. What is a cabochon? Let's find out. Cabochon. A precious stone which has only been polished, not cut into facets. Okay. Didn't know that. That's another one of those mineralogical words that I wouldn't know because I ain't no mineralogist. These aren't natural inclusions.
Oh.
Yeah, okay, and this is about the fingerprints. So this is, this is about Margot and Jack. Yeah, okay. So we already asked Jack about the brooch, so we know about that. But what in her pockets could have scratched this ruby? Well, I think we know, but I guess the way that the game wants us to kind of go about this is to rub the ruby on the strike plate. So the whole way that this works, I don't know if this is how real mineralogists do things, but the whole way that this works is, again, I mean, I think it's been explained enough earlier in the game, but the idea is that this plate that we're carrying has a specific hardness. And as it says here, if it is a ruby, you wouldn't be damaging it because the streak plate that we have is softer than the ruby. So we don't want to damage Nessa's ruby brooch, but if it's a real ruby, we wouldn't damage it with this.
Because rubies are harder than unglazed porcelain, they would scratch the streak plate, not the other way around. I'll try it in an inconspicuous place, at least.
You perform the streak test as carefully as you can, though with this procedure, a rather firm hand is required. Oh, does Nancy have a firm hand? You want the man with the firm hand. Well, or woman, in this case. The ruby in Nessa's brooch easily scratches the streak plate.
Phew, I guess it's a ruby after all. When a specimen is harder than a streak plate, which has the most hardness of 7, it is said to no streak or a colorless streak. Rubies have most hardness of 9, much harder than streak plates. The only harder gem is diamond, which has the most hardness of 10. The rutile inclusions, I don't know what rutile means, but I know that she said it, that I've examined in the stone are characteristic of rubies too.
Okay, so it's a real ruby. It scratched the streak plate, so it appears that it's a real ruby. Great. And the only thing harder than a ruby is a diamond. So, why is that relevant? Because we have some stuff from the riverbank. If you remember, where is it now? It's not this. This is the crushed up almonds. One of these things here. Is this this is the cliff sample. That's the glacial sample, but there we go. This is the river sample. So after getting rid of the softer specimens from the river sample, we have 2 colorless minerals with most hardness of greater than 6.5. And what we can do now is rub the river sample on the ruby, on the brooch, which is a real ruby. Now we've learned it's a real ruby. You lightly rub the riverbed sample on the ruby cabochon, promising yourself to take it to a jeweler to polish away all the scratches.
Ah, some of the colorless specimens in this sample from the riverbed have scratched the ruby cabochon. It's quite possible that these are diamonds. Diamonds in crimson?
Dun, dun, dun. And if we ask Jack about diamonds now...
Jack, this mineral sample I dug out of the riverbank by the large scratched Nessa's ruby brooch. These aren't garnets. It's likely they're diamonds.
We've got more important things to worry about, Nancy. Mr. Richards could be in danger. We can talk about this when we have him back, okay? So, Jack does not seem at all surprised. He seems to want to avoid the subject. So, I'm pretty sure that he knows. Because remember, we saw Jack and Nathan scrounging along the riverbank looking for who knows what. And when we said that, we found these kind of gemstones or whatever, they said, it's probably just garnets. And garnets are not normally white. But that's why I think Nancy was skeptical. Nancy was saying, white garnets? Are you serious? And they said, yeah, it's a rare white garnet. Well, that's BS. They were hiding it. For whatever reason, they didn't want to talk about it. Who knows why? Who knows why they lied about it? I don't know what they're hiding or why, but they don't want people to know that there are diamonds in the ground here. So that's obviously the whole deal. So yeah, so we verify that those things are diamonds because they scratched the ruby. As Nancy said, the only thing harder than a ruby, the only harder gem would be a diamond, and because the diamond scratched the ruby, that shows that we got diamonds from the riverbank. So there are diamonds here. Okay, I think that's it. I think that's all I wanted to say about that. The one other thing I wanted to mention, I asked in the previous video, what would happen if we'd forgotten, or not forgotten, but just neglected to take the blasting cap, because obviously we needed the dynamite and the blasting cap to get through this rubble here. So would we be stuck here if we had forgotten it? Well, no, there's an alternate solution. You can just say, dig with this trowel that we still have. Dig with trowel.
This trowel's all I've got, so let's make the best of it.
You and Jack laboriously dig for many long hours. Eventually, the two of you manage to clear away a small hole that leads into the mine. Jack has gingerly lowered himself onto the hard rocks. He winces in pain. I'm finished, Nancy. I've hurt my back pretty bad. I can't dig anymore. We should sit tight and wait for the others to get back here.
Evan's in danger. We can't wait. I can fit through this opening. I'm going in after Evan.
All right, and then we would go through as we did before. So I don't really know what the difference is. I don't know if there's some specific advantage to using the dynamite, because really we get the same result in the end. We get a small hole which we can fit through. I mean, obviously if you really had to dig with the trowel for hours, that would be a pain in real life, but the game doesn't make you wait hours. As you can see, the game fast forwards to now. So I don't know if there's really a difference between the two solutions in terms of their result. Is there actually an advantage to using the dynamite? Because just saying dig with trowel is actually easier than what we did with the dynamite. It's less obvious, but it's easier in terms of the gameplay. Obviously not easier for Nancy and Jack, but it's easier for the person playing the game. So I don't know. I don't know if there's any difference in terms of how the game handles those two solutions, but there you go. That's an alternate solution in case you forgot to take the blasting cap and the dynamite, or just didn't come here with them. So, is that all that I wanted to say? I think that's all that I wanted to say. So, let's go ahead now and let's load the game and come back here. So I made a saved game. I made a new saved game where I asked about all this stuff because I don't know if these have effects on the game, but I went back and asked Jack about all these things. I asked Jack about the diamonds and the medication and the brooch and everything, and I did the scratchy thing with the ruby on the strike plate and talked about the diamonds with Jack. So I did all that. So that's all been done. I made a new save game here just to have that, just in case it somehow affects the ending of the game. So we're back here. So if you remember, we die from going down here. And we die from going into either of these paths or openings or whatever here. So the only way that we can apparently survive is by going this way, but there's actually another path down here. Oh, we die here as well. Okay. Okay, so either way you die trying to go off the bottom. So the only way we can survive is going to the east, but we get lost if you go that way. So what are we supposed to do? So I looked a little bit ahead. We're supposed to look at the ground first. So the fourth garnet mine is covered in dust and rock particles. That, plus the lack of wind and weather, has kept dozens of sets of shoe prints looking as fresh as the day they were made.
The shoe prints still look very clear, but are covered in dust like everything else. Most of the shoe prints.
But if we examine the shoe prints again, if we examine them more closely,
Aha! Here are some pointy-toed size 14 men's dress shoe prints, and impressions made by size 8 women's shoes, and size 12 men's boots. I recognize this tread pattern from Mr. Richards' other boots. The 3 sets of footprints are the freshest after all. Now I need to track these shoe prints and discover where they went next.
Nessa's, Corvus's, and Miss Richards' shoe prints mingle with the other miners' shoe prints, but are much fresher. So, can we say follow shoe prints? Yeah, which way do they go? Okay, here we go. I think you have to check them in the right place. If you check them in different places in the room, she talks about, she says different things. So you have to check them here. So yeah, they head east deeper into the mine. Great.
Nothing but dusty minor shoe prints down the southern path.
Okay, so we can just follow these shoe prints and follow them to...
Gee, I'm glad I was able to track Nessa and Corvus down this path. I hope I can find Mr. Richards before it's too late. Ah, what was that?
Despite the terrifying rumbles and shudders surrounding you, you forge onwards. Game is auto-saved. Alright. Just as you reach this firelit cavern, your lantern goes out. I guess that means there's no turning back now, but we don't need to because I think pretty sure we found what we're looking for, or whom we're looking for here.
Oh no, the lantern's out of oil. There's no turning back now.
Sign your will, Evan.
Sign my fake will, you mean? If you're so smart, why didn't you just forge Pa's will? Then he wouldn't have had to come up with this dumb scheme.
If you were so smart, you'd know that Pa's lawyer is still alive. He'd pipe up pretty quick if an actual will from his client came out of nowhere. But this is a perfectly suitable backup plan. It's much easier to forge your will.
Of course, in real life, people wouldn't explain all their machinations this way, but this is for us. This is for our benefit as the viewer, so we know what they're up to. This is the classical sort of thing at the end where the villain explains their master plot and why they did everything.
If you do as you're told, I'll let you die quickly. Otherwise, you'll starve to death in the dark. And we'll forge your signature anyway.
If you're going to forge a signature anyway, then why even bother doing this? Why didn't you just have him killed? Why didn't you just kill him and forge a signature? Why go through all this hustle and bustle if you think you can just forge a signature anyway? Nancy's on to you. You won't get away with this.
We'll see about that. It'll be her word against ours.
I have to rescue Mr. Richards. My first order of business is to distract Corvus.
Okay. So, this is, I guess, the climactic final confrontation now. Let's just take a quick look around. So we've arrived at open cavernous area that passes down to a natural platform. The cave-ins that have been rocking the mine have created some deep chasms. An abundance of rocks of various sizes litter the floor. This rockfall looks fresh too, and there's a lot more of it. One door to the north is still clear. Doors to the north and the east are blocked by rocks.
This is a very dangerous area.
There's a central door that leads further back into the mine, as well as a door on the right that's completely clogged with rockfall. You see a large boulder even taller than you in the shadows nearby. You also see a table, a fire, and a wheelbarrow. Okay. I think yeah. Final confrontation. Okay, so the game's auto-saved, so if we mess up, we can just load the game. So let's go ahead and just walk right on in. See what happens if we just... Aha!
Oh!
Corvus ties you up. Joke's on him, I'm into that. We have to get you out of here. Maybe Nancy was followed. Oh, not you out of here. We have to get out of here. Maybe Nancy was followed.
Yes, we do. Any last words, brother dearest?
Not for you. Nessa takes... Oh, wow, really? Nessa takes a handful of crushed almonds from the table. Wow, really? Doing this to your own brother? I mean... She then stuffs the almonds in Evan's mouth. Seriously?
Nessa, what have you done?
I should have done that a long time ago. Goodbye, Nancy.
Corvus takes the lantern and follows Nessa out of the cavern. You're left in darkness, listening to Mr. Richards gasp his last breaths.
I'm sorry, Mr. Richards.
All I can do is wait. It feels like an eternity. And then...
Footsteps. I'm in here. Help!
Nancy, is that you? Mr. Richards?
Ranger Murdoch.
Nancy,
Mr. Richards is dead.
let's get you out of here. Ranger Murdoch takes out a pocket knife and saws through the ropes that are binding you. So I guess... this obviously isn't the end of the game. I figured they would kill us, but they didn't. So I guess the game goes on?
Thanks. Corvus got away and so did Nessa. I'm sorry, I failed.
The important thing is you're safe. Come along.
I'm sorry, Mr. Richards. Goodbye.
Okay, so I guess this is the, I guess this is kind of the bad ending. So I guess we're at the point now where the game splits into a few different multiple endings, and this is obviously the bad ending because Evan died. So I guess what I'll do is I'm not going to finish the game like this. I'm going to go back, I'm going to load the game and figure out how to deal with Corvus and Nessa. But I guess let's watch this cutscene through and see what happens if we let Evan die. Ranger Murdoch leads the way out of the mine. You feel incredibly relieved to be out of the mine. It feels like a great weight has been lifted off your shoulders. The automobile is parked down the hill.
And there are more rangers waiting for us at the train station.
How did everyone get here so quickly?
Well, it wasn't quick, actually. I'm not actually a forest ranger. I'm a member of Northwest Mounted Police. We've been on the trail of a German spy and saboteur who is rumored to be in this area. We believe he is responsible for the bombing of the bridge west of Crimson.
Albert Resper. Carl Ale.
A man known to us as Karl Leffler. You revealed him, Nancy. Well done. Not only that, you tipped us off to what his next target would be.
The Sulaks.
Right again. As you know, Canada declared war on Germany a few weeks ago.
Okay, so this is World War I. Okay, so this is the usual sort of Germans as the bad guys scenario, except this is World War I instead of World War II.
It appears operatives directed by the German Foreign Office have undertaken a campaign here in Canada to delay military aid to Europe by targeting transportation links such as railways, bridges, and canals. We strongly suspect that Karl L., a man we know as Karl Leffler, is one of those operatives. He has been apprehended at the Sulaks while setting up explosive charges. And thanks to your impeccable detective work, Mr. Leffler will surely be brought to justice.
Gee!
Let's go.
After you give the game credit, it's like that whole Germans as the bad guys all over again, except this is not even the usual Nazis, because this is before the Nazis. This is World War I, before the whole Nazi thing started. So they managed to make Germans into the bad guys in a World War I scenario, which is actually kind of uncommon. Okay, this is Chapter 7, conclusion. Okay, so this is the last chapter of the game. So yeah, the game will actually proceed if you let Evan die. I'm going to guess this is, like I said, I guess this is the bad ending. The train station is a flurry of activity. Rangers are milling all around, consulting with each other in whispered conversations. Inside you can hear the non-stop whir and the tick of the telegraph machine. The ranger in charge looks up and acknowledges Ranger Murdoch with a nod. Just the man I wanted to see. Thanks to the intelligence you provided, we were able to alert authorities in Sault Ste. Marie about the impending sabotage attempt on the Sulaks. They were ready and waiting, and caught the man red-handed with luggage full of dynamite and blasting caps, not to mention a 9mm Luger in the glove box. Imagine his surprise when they called him by his real name, Karl Leffler, aka Albert Respa, German spy and saboteur. I would have loved to have seen the look on his face. All in all, some mighty fine work, Ranger Murdoch. A crisis has been averted.
As much as I'd like to take credit for it, Nancy Maple here is the one you ought to be thanking. She single-handedly figured it out. All I did was pass along the information.
Well then, my thanks to you, Nancy Maple. You're a Canadian hero. Daw.
Thanks.
Though I'll warn you now, you might have to be an unsung hero at that. I have a feeling the Canadian government won't want to reveal just how vulnerable we were tonight. It could undermine the public's confidence at a crucial turning point for our country.
Oh, I don't mind at all, as long as things worked out for the best.
They did, Nancy. Truly. Thank you for your service.
Now, what have you got here?
We've just come from the old abandoned garnet mine.
A busy night.
Yes, indeed. Please dispatch some crime scene investigators to the lodge, so we can build a strong case.
Roger that.
I'm heading back down to Toronto now. I need to meet with some high-ups immediately. The Northwest Mounted Police has commandeered a train back to the city. I've been told you call Toronto home, Miss Maple. Will you join me?
I'm exhausted. I don't think I'm up for more traveling tonight, and I'm not ready to leave Crimson just yet.
Suit yourself. I'll need to take a statement for the report, but that can wait a day or two.
Thank you. I'll need a bit of time to get my thoughts in order.
Of course. There's going to be a ton of paperwork to do for this whole caper. I'll be trapped behind a desk for weeks. Do send word when you'll be returning. I'll pick you up from Union Station and escort you straight to the police station.
Will do. Thanks, Ranger Murdoch.
Nathan drives you and Jack back to the lodge. Margot's death feels like it happened weeks ago. And your arrival in Crimson feels like it happened months ago. And it feels like years ago when you spoke to your boss, Professor Plummer.
Ah, my boss. My fieldwork. What am I going to tell him?
Despite the excitement of the evening, you find yourself nodding off, only to be jolted awake when Nathan's automobile hits an uneven stretch of road. Eventually, not even the bumpy road can rouse you. Nancy, you awake? We're back. Once Jack has roused you from your deep slumber, you make your way upstairs as quietly as possible lest you wake Kimmy. Alright.
My goodness, what a night. I've never been so exhausted.
You climb into bed and are eager to fall asleep. Just goes to sleep in her daytime clothes, doesn't even change clothes to... okay. But as your gaze falls onto the ransacked curio cabinet, you realize that there are a few things you may want to bring up with the other inhabitants of the lodge tomorrow morning.
I'd better remember to make some new notes on fresh paper to remind myself. Or I could decide to just go to sleep if I wish.
Ah, okay. Okay, so... I did a little bit of... I'm going to confess, I did a little bit of reading ahead. Apparently, this last chapter of the game, Chapter 7, is mostly just a questionnaire. So it's kind of like, again, it's kind of like the end of the Dagger of Amon-Ra. The ending of the Dagger of Amon-Ra is basically where the police quiz you to kind of make sure that you... It's kind of a test to make sure that you got all the stuff in the game, that you found out all the things in the game. So this is kind of like that. This is basically... it's just like a series of questions just to check and make sure that you found out everything that's to be found out in the game. So I'll do this obviously, but I will do this after going back and getting the proper ending, because Evan is dead. I don't want to finish the game on a bad ending, so I'm going to go ahead and go back, and I guess we'll have to figure out how to rescue Evan, and then we'll come back and go through this whole thing again, and then I'll finish the game. So I guess I'll do that in the next video. So yeah. Pretty sure that we're close to the end of the game. I expect, based from what I read, that I guess the next video will probably be the last video of this Let's Play, because like I said, I think at this point it's just a questionnaire. This is basically just answering some final questions just to make sure that you got all the clues and hints and found out everything in the game, and then just the final closing scene, and that's it. I think that'll be the whole game. So, did I miss anything that I wanted to talk about? I don't think so. Yeah, I think I did everything that I wanted to do for this video, so, and the timing worked out well because I'm just getting close to half an hour, so, which is my usual time for making videos these days, so. Okay, that'll be it for now. Thanks for watching, everyone. In the next video, probably we'll end the game, and that will have been the Crimson Diamond. I hope you've enjoyed watching. Until then, take care, everyone, and I will talk to you all in the next video. Bye-bye for now.